Hi everyone, Tracy Lewis with We Are Winter Garden, here with Scott Ballou, who is the founder, CEO, and president of Matthews Hope, and also Shelley Bradford, who is the vice president and executive director of Matthews Hope. Welcome to episode 16 of Straight Talk No BS with Matthews Hope, where we are going to be talking about what Thanksgiving looks like for those in our community who are homeless. But before we dive into that, I want to go around, since it is Thanksgiving week, what we are thankful for. Scott, you want to start off?
I'm thankful for Shelley. No, all kidding aside. No, I am thankful for Shelley. I joke about I'm thankful for Shelley. I'm thankful for Charlene, who completely puts up with me every day. And I'm thankful that we really do have an amazing staff, because without them, I think this time of year, I personally get a lot of attention, people doing stories and things like that, and trying to get them to understand that, it's not me. We have about 45 people behind us that are making it happen day in and day out, and it's a lot to be thankful for. Yeah.
Shelley?
Well, I am thankful for
stop
Scott,
it now. See,
too.
Yeah. Before the camera's
What comes
on.
around goes around.
But the last couple of years for my family personally has been tough. So this year, I'm just thankful that we're all going to be together, and it's been tough to, personally, we lost both my parents in the last couple of years, and to know that we're all going to be together this year is kind of exciting.
That is super exciting, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I have a 19 and a 23-year-old, and I'm just thankful for their health. Actually, all of our healths, because I was watching TV yesterday, and a lot of commercials come up on children illness and whatnot. So I'm just really thankful that they're healthy and they're thriving and going through struggles, but also conquering them. So that's what I'm really thankful for.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving, what does that look like for our community, for those who are homeless?
Got anything?
Is that too broad?
Well, that is pretty broad.
Yes.
One thing that we're known for is we do close at Thanksgiving. And the reason why is you'll hear Scott say several times, is there's anybody wants to feed a homeless person at Christmas and at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so we are there feeding them the other 52 weeks of the year, or the other however many, whatever. Can't do
nobody's
math. Whatever. The rest of the year.
A lot of days.
Yes.
A lot of days.
A lot of days.
And it's, so Scott has always been very gracious to send us home and just let us be with our families at that time, which is good. And so for our homeless men and women, they have places to go. There's churches that want to feed them. We do have volunteers that will take them meals. And we personally, on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, will make sure that they have some sort of Thanksgiving type traditional meal.
And is it true that for some of the homeless, they go to a family or a friend's home, and these people do not know that they are homeless?
Well, you have two things that happen. Sometimes they don't know. A lot of times they travel to their families. I've said it other times that a lot of times when we were younger, we always traveled to the grandparents.
Yeah.
Now the grandparents do most of the traveling.
Yeah.
And so the families don't know that they're coming for the holiday.
Wow.
And that they're living in a tent back home. Then you have the other part where people are invited by their families to come in and be there for the holidays, but then when the holiday is over, you have to go too. And so it's a mixed bag of blessings, and I'm not even sure what to call the other part. A lot of sorrow sometimes too, because there's some brokenness that happen in some of these families that have yet to be repaired. And by the grace of God, they will get repaired. Or sometimes it's the relationship is repaired, but we can't forget, if that makes any sense.
It does. So oftentimes when we're together with our family or friends, we have topics that we talk about. I would like to encourage the community, and maybe you guys can too, maybe one of the topics that our families and friends can talk about is homelessness. Is there a specific topic that we can give those who are listening to start this conversation with others?
Wow, Tracy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let's lighten up the mood for the holiday.
Right.
Talking about some homelessness, and people that are dying on the streets.
I mean, we're all being thankful for things.
I
We have
think-
a roof over our head,
Yeah.
but some people don't. So I feel like we need to talk about these things.
I agree, and I don't want to make light of it, but it is kind of, it's one of these things that it's difficult. It's like nobody likes to talk about death.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay?
You don't want to get a will because you don't want to talk about dying.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But
Of course.
it's almost it's similar in some ways to that. It's that, well, that's not something we really want to talk about. But I think that if we spoke about it more at the dinner table as a whole,
Yeah.
not just Thanksgiving, but actually talked with our kids and our families and our friends about what's happening in the world around us. Not so much from it seemed to always go to a political standpoint, not from that standpoint, because quite honestly, not one of them has done a damn good job of this for years and years when it comes to the homeless crisis. It seems to be a topic that both locally and on the national level, we just keep kicking the can down the alley, hoping that it just, I don't know, disappears or something, and it's not going to. So I think it's more than anything as we talk about with our families how thankful we are for what we have, but in that, recognizing the fact that we truly are blessed because there's so many people out there, just thousands upon thousands right here in Central Florida that will be sitting in a park or something by themselves this year, possibly had a church feed them some food, and that's where it stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shelley, it's time of giving, being thankful for things. Do you feel or know, do donations go up or down? Do you see any type of fluctuation with donations during this season?
People are generally more generous at this time of year. But, I'll also say we see a lot of people that clean out their pantries at this time of year as well. So we also have to be careful of that because sometimes we'll get, food that's expired,
So
which
community,
is,
let's be aware of that.
yeah,
If you're
which
not
is
going to
something
feed it
that's
to your
not
child,
helpful.
don't
Right,
give it
right.
to somebody else.
right. But
That's an important thing. It is true. And, with most things, again, we're trying to always build dignity. So whether you're donating clothes or whatever, ask yourself, if you wouldn't wear it, why would somebody else? Now, if it's because your taste has changed, or me, I've lost about 40 pounds
And you
the
look
last
great.
few months. Well, thank you. There's stuff that I can get out of my closet, and it's good clothing, and I would continue to wear it if I was 40 pounds heavier. Now it falls off me. So I just think that, you look at those things, and then again, this is the time of year a lot of us are going to get some new things. If we're all honest with ourselves, why we shop for others, we often find things for ourselves.
Yeah.
This time of year. It is known as the giving season. In fact, really, in the past, I'll say this, like, up until about the pandemic, we would probably bring in somewhere around 40% of our entire budget in the last few months of the year. I don't know what that looks like right now because it has been a very different season that we're in, one that we have not really faced in our 14-year history.
So I'm guilty of this. I'm going to be the first one to say it. I'm straight talk, so we're going to be real, right? And I've noticed it with others too, just from social media, that people are so excited and they're so out there. I'm going to give, I'm going to do this, I'm going to volunteer. But then after December, it just fades away. And they forget about January, February, March, the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what can we do? I know that you guys have it set up where we can give and it be monthly just taken out. So we just kind of give and forget about it, but it's huge for you guys.
Yeah, community
What else can
partners
we
and
do
those
the
sustaining
rest of the
donors.
year? Yeah.
Sustaining donors are huge for us. I think a lot of people, they don't realize that our average donor is Joe middle class. And to be able to put in their budget, $10, $20, $25 a week or a month or whatever, and have it ongoing coming out is really the easiest way for any of us, especially in this economy, to be able to continue to give if we have that heart. It's easier to do that than come up with a chunk of money, again, especially in this type of economy. And I would encourage people to look at this, look at it two things as the coming year, is identify those organizations, and prayerfully, Matthew's Hope would be one of them, that you would make a commitment to, but also make a commitment to yourself. Something I've done this last few years is I started putting away something as simple as $25 a paycheck. Not a lot of money, but you'd be surprised how quickly that adds up. And so my giving has turned out a lot of the same way. I've got one thing that's doing $10 each week. I have another one that's doing $25 each paycheck. And I really don't notice it gone,
Right.
but I also noticed at the end of the year that I was able to not only impact someone else out there, but I found that there's a couple of emergencies that happened throughout the year that all of a sudden I went, oh, I've got this $500-600 over here that I wasn't even thinking about.
Right.
And so I think it's smart. We should teach our kids that too.
Definitely. Shelley, we're moving in the winter, and some people, even especially the ones that have just moved here, and they think Florida is warm and tolerable in the winter time, but for those out on the streets, in the woods, it may not be as tolerable. So what does it look like for those who are living not in a home, in a bed with blankets during the winter?
It does still get cold in Florida.
I agree. I wear hat and gloves, but people call me weird too. But I can't imagine being out in the elements. So how are they surviving this?
I mean, I don't even know how to answer that. It's a good question. I mean, I know how to answer it,
Yeah.
but how to make it make sense.
Right.
I mean, people ask for more tarps at that time.
Okay.
They've asked for, blankets,
Okay.
long sleeve shirts. Though it's not cold, when you're in it for a long time, or Florida our cold is wet, and so it
Yes.
makes it even more cold for somebody that's in it all the time.
So we could donate blankets,
Blankets,
hats.
hoodies,
Okay.
sweatshirts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jackets.
Yeah, jackets, yeah.
It's a lot of our folks, they kind of need to layer because that's how the day is going. Florida is one of those places
Right.
that you can wake up chilled to the bone, and it will get warm enough that you just want to take it all off. Okay, and then now you're typically damp underneath there and don't know it. Now you've exposed yourself to that damp, cold weather.
Right.
And so it's kind of a process, but we go through a lot of beanie hats and a lot of just basic
Gloves.
inexpensive gloves just to cover the skin, and when we say blankets, we're really looking for, we go through a lot of them, those that have a tight weave to them.
Okay.
And what I mean, there's blankets that we could lay down on the ground. If we went like this, everything comes off of them. And there's this other that have the looser weave that the leaves and dirt and everything hangs in
Yeah.
them. And those aren't so good. So when I say tight weave, and they don't have to necessarily be heavy, because again, most of these folks are not living in the woods like they used to. They're living on the streets. So whatever they have, they got to be able to carry with
Take
them.
it with them.
Oh, makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So we try to find things that aren't overly heavy but effective.
Right. So that's a lot of great things that the community can come together and give to you guys to help those. Has anybody ever given a donation in somebody's name? We're coming on the gift giving season, and oftentimes, people, I have everything, I don't need anything, but you want to do something special for them. So is that
that's
something possible?
actually a pretty common thing that
Okay.
people do throughout nonprofits. And I've noticed it more in the last couple of years, where people will say this is a donation in honor of, where families will choose to do that instead of giving gifts, because what do any of us really need?
Yeah.
We all really don't. What we need, we go get.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's, I just thought about it. Really, what do we need?
Right.
Right.
I think there's things that we want in that, but I've seen this a lot in families. I think what I find most interesting, as I was just listening to you too, is where I've had children actually ask their parents to make a donation to us
Yes.
rather than buy them a gift.
Yes.
We've had a few kids over the last few years, and the one family,
The lemonade stand.
yes, oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Tell me this.
I'm always careful about naming names and
Yeah,
stuff, but we've got one the lemonade stand, which is very cool, and the others that they've had a birthday party. The two sisters have done it for both their parties now
Several years.
for several years,
Yeah.
and all the gifts were for Matthew's Hope.
Oh my gosh, that is
not for
great.
them, and I just find that amazing. But I've seen families do it too, where it says,
Yeah.
you know what, instead of going through the stress of this,
Right.
you know, or they've limited the gifts, like, what do you really want? I'm going to get you that. Okay, but we live in a society now that we feel weird if we only give somebody one gift.
Yeah. Right.
Isn't that weird? And you
It's
know,
so
at
weird.
my age, you
I'm
got the
guilty
one
of it.
gift.
Right, right.
You know,
I love
Right.
that. So that's a great idea for the community. If you guys aren't sure of what to give or whatever, that's a good idea. We're also in the Matthews Hope Chest. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how the community can get involved with helping you guys, but also them checking names off their list?
Sure. So we're in the Hope Chest, in the Matthews Hope Chest, which is really a cool boutique store. We have furniture in here. We have clothing. We have home decor, and aside from the clothing, most of it has been touched by our homeless men and women of some kind. Whether it is they built something, they repurposed furniture.
That's cool.
So you know, not only would you be helping our homeless men and women be proud of what they've done,
Right.
you know, you would also be helping our ministry as well.
And there's ornaments coming. And
yeah, I mean, you know, we
Like,
got
oh,
a
yeah,
few
put
things
on
that
the
were
table
made.
here.
What I just think are I mean, this thing is I hope we catch that on the camera, because it really is very pretty cool looking,
really
the
pretty.
nativity, and the fact that we can personalize them on the back also.
Okay. So customizable ornaments.
Well, and I'm thinking also that, you know, when some people, I mean, my mom, if I ask her, what do you want for Christmas? I don't need anything.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, you know, buy me a gift card if you really, take me to dinner or something like that, whatever. Sometimes it's hard, but you want them something to open. I don't mind taking them to dinner and what have you, but you want to give them something to open. And so I tell people when you can't think of any gift at all, this is a great place
Right.
for that place. I mean,
Definitely.
you know, these little things,
Cute little Yeah.
it's an earring. I mean, these are earrings and stuff that are made in our
cool.
shop.
I love it.
And ornaments
great.
and different things that can be given. And it's also great for people, you were talking about this the other day, that are either in the hospital or maybe they live in an assisted living place, so they don't have a lot of room.
Right.
They love this stuff because
put it on the
it can
community
easily be
tree
put
or-
away. You take this off, you turn it off, and you just
That's
tuck
great.
it away. Tuck it away.
That's amazing.
You know, so yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for here year round, but it is fun during
Definitely.
Christmas time, and it does help us a great deal.
So there's many ways that the community can give. So please look into those ways on social media, your guys' website, call. If you guys have any ideas, we would love to hear them too. We're always looking to add something fun and innovative to how we can help the community. But that wraps up this episode. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving. Next week, we'll be joined by a local businessman to hear how Matthews Hope has really changed the way him and his family approach the holiday season. So we'll see you guys back for that. Thanks for watching.